Okay, well, welcome to this class. Welcome to this online healing class. I'm really happy that you're here. Why am I so happy about that? Well, because it's so nice to share and join together with you, and to see a reflection of this interconnectedness that is there anyway. But we might as well do it like this too. Why not? There's nothing wrong with that. You can sit in your chair, meditating by yourself. That's great. That works too, because there's nothing but your own consciousness. And but to join with so-called others is great too, just because you get a reflection of your own healing, your own brightness, your own interconnectedness, your own union, basically. And so I'm really happy that you left the world behind for a moment to join with me in this. That's really nice. So in order to sink into our deeper consciousness, so to speak, and not stay in the superficial human consciousness, I would suggest that you sit back and breathe and relax a little bit. Maybe later on we're going to do some an exercise for meditation. That's what just pops in. I got a really nice format that you can use if you feel like that. So today will really be about where this is all about, and that is the, say, getting into conscious communication with God. So how is that working out? First, I will give a little description coming from the Way of Mastery about your human consciousness, but also what is actually just right behind that. I will also use a part of Joel again, and that is the beginner's class, like one of his first lectures that he gave. Well, not really the first one, but more like a beginner's lecture that he gave in Tulsa. I just posted that today on the EV Hub website, and because somebody was asking for the transcript of it. And Joel will tell you something really nice too. Just putting your focus right, just setting your goals right, that can really help to establish this direct communication. And then the crux of it all is, say, developing the trust in the power, so to speak, in one power. But in order to develop that trust in one power, you will have to experience it. Otherwise, why would you even listen to me? So that is something that you apparently had. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. So you have experiences of power, of the one power. And so the part of trust in that power comes from A Course in Miracles, the manual for teachers. And that is nothing but like, how can this trust be developed? Because of course that's an important part too. You can have an experience of the love of God for one instant and not have any of that for the next couple of years. That would be a pity. Like, why not be in full communication with God? Why not be in full communication with every aspect of creation? So, like I said, we start today with the real crux of the matter, and that's basically communicating with God, becoming quiet in yourself, so that communication comes into your awareness. Like it is always possible, but it's not always in your awareness. Like I say many times, part of your mind is in constant communication with God. You can't even stop it. You know, it's like, no, of course not, because it's in you and you are an extension of the love of God. So it's got to be in there somewhere. So today we're going to find out where it is and how you can bring it into your consciousness. So in that sense, it is a beginner's class. So maybe I should start reading a little bit from Joel about this beginning class that he's giving, like beginning steps on the infinite way. And that will set the goal right. So that will make it very clear where we're actually dealing with. So Joel says in the beginning steps of the infinite way, our mission is first of all to discover the name and the nature of God and the functioning of God. And secondly, to attain conscious union or conscious oneness with God. It has been made very difficult for us because most teachings indicate a God in heaven, a God above, a God to be sought in holy mountains or holy temples. And very seldom, in that time at least, it is taught that the kingdom of God is within you. Christ Jesus was one of those mystics who knew it, because he not only knew the absolute truth, he not only experienced absolute truth, but he was so consciously aware of his oneness that he could reveal, I am the truth. Now you must remember that statement along with I am the way, I am the resurrection, I am the truth. So this is the thing. This is the basics of it. So and then a little bit further, Joel says, one of the first lessons that has to do with how do we reach this goal? How do we attain it? And it is at this first step that we lose most of our seekers. I would say that more than half drop out at this first step. God can only be realized by impartation within us. In other words, when the revelation comes, it comes within our own being, and it comes through the still small voice. Like God is not in the whirlwind, God is not out there in the storm, God is not in a problem. No, God is in a still small voice. And the reason so many drop away is that they find it impossible to be still. Okay, so this is good stuff. I really like that I found this. I really that came to me, because it's like, yeah, you have to become very quiet. Yes, have to become very still inside yourself, and letting go and giving up of a couple of things. You know, it's like, oh yes, I need to relax into this. Oh yeah. I forgot about that. I was just a little distracted. No, okay, I sink deeper. I sink deeper into myself, because, like Joel says, it is within me that the kingdom is. So I'm going to connect with this kingdom inside of me. And I have to be still for that. I have to not engage in the thoughts that I think anymore. I don't have to engage in the emotions or deep feelings that I feel. No, for a moment, I'm just going to let those be. And I'm going to sink deeper into myself. So, and a very practical description, and actually a description with like a really nice direction under it, is coming from the Way of Mastery. So I would like to glue that on this, what I'm trying to share with you now, just because of that is so in the same, say, street, or it's so fluently, seamlessly connected to it. And that is a little description, just as an introduction to this whole process of becoming still, and also knowing that there's something under it. I will just start sharing this with you. Here it is. So this is a description of you just as you in your daily life. So there you are, sitting upon your chair, lying upon your floor, sitting upon your couch, And you are that one with capital T and O. You are in form. That is, you have created a perception of yourself that includes the experience of being a body-mind, which, by the way, is separate from all other bodies. It is separate from the rock. Obviously, you can look out of your window and tell that where the body is that you can identify with is in a different spatial point than every other object. And that is what this world is. This universe is the attempt to create a reflection that convinces you that the first fearful thought of separation is the truth of who you are. You are using, or have unwittingly been using, your physical universe to constantly reflect to you what must be the truth, that you are separate from all creation. This world is nothing but a reflection of that thought. And yet, even here, that one pervades all things. And that one with the capital T and O. That one pervades all things. And the realization of yourself as that one, self with capital S, as that one, is closer to you than your own breath. Simply a decision away. This world is nothing but a reflection of that thought. And yet even here, that one pervades all things. And the realization of yourself as that one is closer to you than your own breath, simply a decision away. Here there is great richness not found in any other dimension. Here there is great richness not found in any other dimension. The richness of the dramas of separation, of seeking, 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 seeking. Well, I have read the Course in Miracles one time, it didn't work. So I'll read it again. Oh, that didn't work. Maybe I'll go try this form of meditation. No, that didn't work. Maybe I'll try Buddhism. No, that didn't work. I'll try Christianity. No, that didn't work. I'll try drugs. That'll do it. The very energy of seeking is the egoic energy. For only the ego can seek. Pure spirit can only extend. And there's a huge difference. Egoic consciousness, as you well know, plays itself out through the forms of special relationships. You have a special relationship with your employer. You have a special relationship with your spouse, your lovers, your car, your boats, your automobiles. And the world plays off on your need for specialness. Oh, look at this automobile. Isn't that one sexy? Oh, you're going to feel so good. So you seek to create the means to possess that certain automobile. Oh, if I only had that person as my spouse. Oh, let me seek that one by seducing that one. I'll act as though I'm other than my poor, paltry, lonely self, so that they think I'm grand. I will ruffle up my peacock feathers. Interesting that we use the word peacock to demonstrate the flowering forth of great feathers that seduces the mate to come. And on it goes, and on it goes. So isn't that some kind of description? So here you are in this egoic seeking for who you are, seeking and seeking and seeking. And then Joel steps right in front of you, telling you to sit still and be quiet and really try to look for this still small voice. But you've looked for it in so many ways, in so many places, and so many persons, and so many other things that you got lost in it. And luckily, there's a way to get out of this And so it's like you look for a different experience. Nothing of what you were looking for was really satisfying in the first place. So there was no satisfaction in them. Otherwise, you wouldn't be looking for it still. You know, looking for something else still. So in order to find what you're actually looking for, what you were looking for, or what you're still looking for, you will have to stand still. And that seems to be like a crazy thing, like you're looking for something and then you have to stand still. As a human being, you can't understand that. You can't believe that until you get your first experience and actually discover that that is true. So yeah, who am I to say that you should do that? You have to try it for yourself. And you do try that for yourself. You will try that for yourself. So there's no need to search anymore. There's just a need to stand still. There's just a, like if you want to discover something, just stand still. Don't move an inch. You know, just sink inside yourself and start to connect with who you really are by breathing, or by like this meditation that I wanted to share with you that comes to mind. And that is this, like you sit and relax and you sigh and you breathe a little bit. And when you breathe in, you say, I accept. And when you breathe out, you say, the love of God. And you keep repeating that until you become so quiet that it becomes like a natural flow. And your breath becomes slower when you do so. It's like, I accept, and now the love of God. I accept the love of God. I accept the love of God. So when you start repeating that for a couple of minutes, you come into this flow, and then you don't need to even have to repeat the words anymore. But it will be like there's no moment where you're not connected to these words. So that makes it very easy for you to relax deeply and let yourself be nurtured by this, and stepping into this stillness and rest. And then whatever happens, that is exactly what should happen. It's like, yeah, it doesn't matter how that is looking. It's just like you have an opportunity to become quiet, to become still, to get in touch with your true nature, to get in touch with your deep stillness. So I accept the love of God. I accept the love of God. So the love of God becomes like a relaxation instead of a searching. It's like, no, you have to relax into that. It will come to you. I accept the love of God. So this is just a very simple exercise that might be very helpful. And I really love to do it that way. And it becomes like a second nature. That you become aware of, like, oh yes, I can do that now. Okay, well, what do I got to lose by trying this or practicing this for myself? That's a really sweet thing to do. So I read a little bit from The Way of Mastery at the end of searching. But the end of all seeking occurs when one dares to hold within the mind a different thought. And you have heard this many times through this, my beloved, through many of my other channels, like A Course in Miracles or via Joel or whatever it can be. Only love is real. You are not a body. I and my Father are one. I am awake and walk this planet as Christ. I choose love over fear. What does that mean? Love is pure spirit. Fear is contraction, density, and false perception, ego consciousness. When you choose love over fear, You must decide not to respond according to the momentum of egoic consciousness. You must decide to live as though you're not an ego. And in this way, what has been formed becomes transformed. That which pervades and extends beyond what has been formed, transformed. So love is pure spirit. I choose love over fear. And pure spirit is also pure spirit, being in this moment connected to your spirit, being in your spirit communication, being present in this moment instead of thinking about what you should do and trying to fix your own problem and trying to be concerned with all the things that are happening. What if there would be a way that you could completely rely on spirit, on all the instructions you receive with spirit? So in order to facilitate that, you will have to get in touch with this moment by letting go of what happened before, by being just calm and still and receptive, and letting go of all the concerns and engagements that are, say, tempting you to pull you out of your Christ consciousness, which is like a bit of training, but when you start getting into that, it is becoming easier and easier, just because it is like that is your true nature. So you can connect with that all the time. It is there. You can rely on it. There's nothing else you can rely on. So in that sense, you don't have a choice in that. But it has to do with what I was suggesting as a reading too, and that is the development of trust. Like you will have to start to develop your trust in a different experience of yourself. So, but like in order to get a different experience of yourself, you will have to allow yourself to be transformed. So it's like first you become aware that you have a choice in that. Then you have to discover what you'll have to do, and that's letting go of what you think that you are. And that's quite a step, It's like you have to rely on something that you don't even know yet. So that's a real it's a real challenge, for a lot of us. Like you will have to dive into the unknown in order to know. So yeah, that is just okay. This goes step by step. You don't have to step directly into full enlightenment or whatever. It's like no, this is developing the trust in a very still, small voice that is so close to you that if you start to hear it, and the tears will flow over your, you will start to cry about it. You will just start to recognize how close it is to you. So it is not that you have to drop yourself into the unknown and make a dramatic whatever of it. No, it's like, no, this goes step by step, and it's so beautifully set up for you. And there's like a real perfect plan working, and you can rely on that. So that means that you're ready for an experience when you're ready for it. And only then you can receive it. So like the Holy Spirit keeps gentle pace with you. So you will never contract. Only when you allow this to occur to you, and when you're ready for it, it will occur. So that is so great, that's so comforting. So it's always with the egoic sense of thinking and spirit sense of thinking, it's always 180 degrees opposite. Like you think that you have to, say, throw yourself off the cliff in order to get this, or something like that. That you have to make a giant leap in order to be able to hear the still small voice. No, that is not true. So it's like the transformation is a very intimate and very personal, individual process taking place in you. And that's where the change occurs. Suddenly there is an opening, and suddenly the light comes in, and you feel like, oh, whoa, what is this? I love that. Or you hear a voice sharing with you very comforting ideas. Like suddenly, I and my Father are one. You've never heard it that way before. It's like it's a new discovery, it's a revelation of what it actually is that this is all about. And that is what it makes so great and so acceptable to go through this process. Even though you see all your ideas are just in the way in order to receive this. And that will keep going. It's like, it's unbelievable how much resistance there is, and how many, say there's a whole scenario. There are lots of scenarios that will bring you back to your resistance to the actual message of this. But all these scenarios are just made up in you, and they have no reality. And they also, in the end, will not stop you from having a different experience of yourself. And once you've tasted the one power, once you have tasted oneness, you want more of it. So that is great. So your trust is developing, and you want more of it. So then suddenly you become like totally self-certain in that sense, and say like, okay, well, let's bring it on. I just made a couple of steps here. I have some real nice experiences, and I feel like I'm ready for anything now. So you start to ask for that. It's like, okay, well, bring it on. Show me what I don't want to take a look at. Show me my dishonesties, or show me my this or that. And let that be revealed to me in a way that I can work with it, that I can overcome it. Because I just want to be in conscious contact with God. Like, I want to increase the commitment to that. And then suddenly, 1 or 2 days later, you walk up against a wall that you didn't expect and didn't see coming. And it's like, oh my God, what is this now? What happened to me? It's like, I don't know if I can do this. It's so tough. It's so difficult. It's so blah, blah, blah. And you fall into a little self-pity. That can happen. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just part of the process. And you think like, well, I'm not moving an inch now. It's like there doesn't seem to be any progress in this, and I can't believe it. And then suddenly you find yourself having a great day, and experience yourself as so bright that you always wanted to stay in it. Well, this is like a little description of your transformational process. So all these, so you can call it a roller coaster, but all these like happy days or not happy days become like meaningless to you in terms of your development. It really doesn't matter anymore. You know that when you have a day that you walk up against a wall, that it actually will become the day that you go really deep in yourself and suddenly discover something completely new. Like, the resistance comes and goes. It is not a reality. It's more like, no, it comes and it goes. And whatever you learned of it, it really doesn't matter in that sense. Not of your concern. You go through the process. That's what's being asked. Like, once you start to come into this, come on this pathway, you basically made an agreement. You literally signed up for this, and you have no idea what you're going through or what will happen. But you decided to do this. So that has its glorious days or its dark days or whatever. That your interest or your concern with that becomes less and less. At least that is my experience in it, and that makes it easier, because it's like, no, I'm on the path. I'm doing this. I'm dedicated to this, and I accept everything that's occurring exactly as part of my process. I'm not resisting that anymore. So now I feel like I should share something with you from A Course in Miracles, and that is the development of trust. I will read, I don't know, maybe one paragraph or two. We'll see what happens. Just because we're on this little point, like, okay, you have an experience, you start to have experiences of the love of God, of direct communion with God, and then what happens? Okay, so this is, like I said, from the Manual for Teachers. And in part 4 is, what are the characteristics of God's teachers? And that's like, God's teachers are healers, or how you in your Christ development. So one of the characteristics is trust. And here we go. This is the foundation on which their ability to fulfill their function rests. Perception is the result of learning, like we just read from the Way of Mastery. It's like, yeah, I'm sitting on a couch, I want to have that car, I want to have this wife, I want to have this and that. So the perception is the result of learning. In fact, perception is learning, because cause and effect are never separated. The teachers of God have trust in the world because they have learned it is not governed by the laws of the world made up. It is governed by a power that is in them and not of them. It is this power that keeps all things safe. It is through this power that the teachers of God look on a forgiven world. When this power has once been experienced, it is impossible to trust one's own petty strength again. Who would attempt to fly with the tiny wings of a sparrow when the mighty power of an eagle has been given them? And who would place his faith in the shabby offerings of the ego when the gifts of God are laid before him? What is it that induces them to make the shift? And then there's a whole description of the development of trust. So I'll read a little bit of that. It's like, first, they must go through what might be called a period of undoing. This need not be painful, but it is usually so experienced. It seems as if things are being taken away. And this is what I call the dramatic scenarios of transformation. It seems as if things are being taken away, and it is rarely understood initially that their lack of value is merely being recognized. So it can be painful to take a look at things that are actually not true, and see that they actually are meaningless. Like, you have to admit that to yourself, and not because you have to, but it is like because it is the reality that you suddenly start to see. So perception can be really helpful here. How can lack of value be perceived unless the perceiver is in a position where he must see things in a different light? I will ask that again. How can lack of value be perceived unless the perceiver is in a position where he must see things in a different light? Oh, this is interesting too. He is not yet at a point at which he can make the shift entirely internally. And so the plan will sometimes call for changes in what seems to be external circumstances. These changes are always helpful. When the teacher of God has learned that much, he goes on to the next stage. And I will stop here. I will post it somewhere that you can read it. But this is exactly, it's a great description of it. It's like, okay, so you cannot make that shift completely internally yet. So then your outer your outer world can change a little bit. I have a lot of people that connect with me. Suddenly they don't have a house anymore, or they lose their job, or their wife is gone, or man is gone, husband is gone. So something that they relied on before suddenly isn't there anymore. It was part of their so-called certainty, but it was not their true certainty. So it's like you get your lessons in your own very individual way, and that can mean that if you can't make that shift internally completely, like if you can't see the valuelessness of it, or if you see that you put on, like you literally created an idol out of someone or something, then that needs to fall in for you in order to have an experience of that there's a different certainty in you that is actually the truth about you. So it helps you to be undone. And that goes for everyone on a different section of life, or like some have it in their relationships, some have it with money issues, and others have it with illnesses or whatever. It's like, see it as an incredible opportunity to become completely aware of fear and of and letting a process occur in you in which you are suddenly are going to undo this fear by actually seeing things in a completely different way and not being afraid for any outcome anymore. Like now, before you were holding on to something in order that was your safety, and you literally like hooked yourself up with it, but that isn't your safety. So in order to let it go, you will have to discover that there's a whole new way of looking at it, and there's a whole new way to experience your safety that is in you and has nothing to do with anything outside of you. So that's easier said than done. I know that you go through all kinds of processes, and so you go through a lot of, what you can call like shit. You go through a lot of shit. Yeah, and in order to see what is real, that is an important part of the process. And it's like so that's an emotional process too. Like it makes the connection with yourself more deep. It will deepen that, and also will bring you closer to what I call the bottom of your heart. Like that, the bottom of your heart is actually where you have your deepest wishes and your deepest desires. So your desire to be in communication with God is laying there, is there too. It's like that has to be on the bottom of your heart. That's the one thing that you want. So in order to get there, some other things will have to get out of the way. Then I speak from deep experience in this. It's not like, oh yeah, no, that just, for me, it was very easy. It was just like that. No. It's like, not that I want to be dramatic about my process, but more like, no, there's a lot that you have to take a look at in order to come into conscious contact. And that doesn't stop. Like it is a training. It's an ongoing training when you're in this body mind. So I hope this is helpful to you, and I hope that that you maybe take some time to look at the pieces that will come from this. You can put them, you can see them on the EV Hub website again. You can just download them and read them again. And this is being offered this way. I don't know why, but it's more like if you want to go dive deep into it, you're invited to do so. And if that is the way for you, just go for it, I would say. And for now, I want to say thank you for your attention and for your presence here. And I love you, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you so much.